Hey guys, good to see you already in the chat. Let me know if everything works, but I think it should. But yeah, happy to see you guys. Hi Don and all here. Do ducks think God is duck shaped? That is indeed the case. I can confirm that is the case. Hey Don, could you explain the painless short setups again? I don't quite remember the painless short setup, but I mean I can talk about how to short this properly. Yeah, we'll do that later. Before we start, big shout out to Bybit for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate it. They've been awesome to work with. Their links are in the description if you want to check them out. And yeah, big thank you. And yeah, we'll go and do some Bitcoin at first, and talk about the altcoins, and then see what's up afterwards. Maybe do some questions in between. I don't know. A lot of people want to know about alt season, so we've been talking about that a lot. I think it makes sense to talk about Bitcoin right now, just based on the fact that it's going parabolic. But yeah, we'll spend some time on the good old altcoins as well. This show is a blessing. I love it. Very happy to hear it, man. If you do love it, please considering clicking the like button. This one's for my homie Cred. Okay, so let's start with Bitcoin. So what we have is a pretty crazy monthly chart, right? There's not that much bearish about this. One thing that you could argue is that we closed at resistance last month. So there's the possibility of snapback or whatever you want to call it. But I mean, that's pretty unlikely. That would have to be another like 12 days of catastrophic dumping, right? I mean, to go back down there, that would have to mean a 4K dump. If that happens, please go ahead and be bearish on the high time frames, because I mean that would be very bearish. But if that doesn't happen, high time frames are bullish. And the weirdest thing's been on my TV charts lately, TradingView, whatever. I get all these dots everywhere. It's so annoying. But yeah, just ignore them. I'll redo my charts because it annoys the crap out of me. But yeah, the high time frames still looking good. Nothing to worry about in general. We have this massive green candle that would have to retrace all the way for the high time frames to flip bearish. Could that happen? I mean, nothing's impossible, right? Do I expect it to happen? Not really. So what does happen if we flip this resistance? We then have another one to flip into support, right? So we have this kind of possibility again, where this would flip into support, and then we could retest it, go further up, whatever. It's obviously still going to be an important level, even if we close above it. Because let's say we close above it and then go down the next month and the month afterwards, and we start losing it, then I think that would turn into really strong resistance, and I take some macro trades based off of it. But until then, just makes a lot of sense to expect it to go up until it doesn't anymore. And how would that look like? Let me remove this and put it on the daily. Wow. Yeah, TradingView's not been following my commands lately. This is so bad. No idea why this. Whatever. Just ignore it. Yeah, so weekly time frame, there's not really any resistances left. Jesus, this looks so bad. Might just nuke the entire chart and do it. Right click object tree, and then what? Just remove all of these. This is gonna take forever though. Like there's a million. Huh. What? much better cred with the safe. I would have just redone the entire chart. It's not really the worst. But yeah, this is gonna excuse my clicking. This is gonna take a while. Dude, poor trading view. If you look at how many lines I have on this chart, I don't think this is gonna, like, this could take forever, man. Yeah, I have dots everywhere too. Yeah, I don't think it's just me, and I've never had that before. It's just been showing up in the last few weeks, and it's been more and more and more, and it just does not stop. But yeah, whatever. If there's stuff deleted that shouldn't be, so be it. We'll add it back. Yeah, whatever. Tired of it. Feels much better already. Live paint drying observatory with Donald. I mean, at least my inability to make this pretty might be funny to some. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we have to fill in at least an hour, right? So I mean, that's premium content that you guys came for. But no, the weekly time frame, there's not really any resistances for me left. So I mean, I don't really subscribe to like drawing resistances up here. This has been so long ago that I don't really care about it too much anymore, based on the weekly chart anyway. Like when you have to zoom out a shitload to make it work. Yeah, it's just not it's not important to me anymore. Let's say, I mean, you can, a better example would be in the daily, right? Let's say you're trading on the daily, you're like trading this, and you're like zooming out all the way down here, and you're like, oh shit, this level from back here, and then you have to like, you don't even see the candles anymore. That doesn't work for me. Like, I don't think those levels are at all important anymore. On higher time frames, maybe. Lower time frames, definitely not. So, yeah. For me, there's no real resistance left. What do you do when you have that kind of situation, right? You're just expecting higher until you're proven otherwise. And until proven otherwise would be, in my opinion, dropping below 14K again. That would line up with the monthly, right? We talked about this. Would have to drop a ginormous amount to get there. So, I mean, it could. I'm just not expecting it right now. That said, this is very obviously a parabolic advance. And those, when they break pretty nastily. So be prepared for like stupid 1, 2, 3K candles to the up or downside. Because what you usually get in these situations is either you get a massive blow off top, right? And we can look at that in the daily. You either get a massive blow off top to kind of finish the parabola, because you don't really have much room for something else, right? And excuse the shitty drawn parabola, but it's more about the rate of increase than this being like super pretty, right? So there's not really that much room for this to go sideways here, because then it break the parabola, break this momentum, and that usually leads to at least a little bit of a sell-off. So it either goes like super hardcore to the upside or super hardcore to the downside. And now you're like, okay, dude, so you're saying up or down? And I mean, yes, that's pretty much what I'm saying, because I don't really think it makes much sense to bet on anything major until, at least on the short side, until you have major levels broken, right? So say you're long from down here, from in here, whatever, right? What you can look for, and you're gonna give back a lot of profits, but you're still gonna give back less profits than if you just sell every time you think it's gonna break down, is you just look for these support zones, draw each and every one of them, and then wait for one to break, right? Because this parabolic advance stops the moment one of these supports breaks. And the good part about it is, let's say you're in from down here, your invalidation creeps up, right? Because let's say you long 10.5, goes up, and then it never really goes back to your entry, right? And then you have a new invalidation up here, doesn't break it, so you stay in, it goes up, you have a new invalidation in here, doesn't break it, you stay in, same here, same here, same here, right? That's kind of the way to follow these parabolic moves without having to do much and still being kind of able to have some risk definition. That said, it obviously hurts, right? Let's say this tops out because, I mean, this has some parabolic blow off top potential. It kind of looks like one. It's not really ginormous, but it's big enough. So let's say this breaks back down, right? So you're giving back a shitload, right? 10%, that's big amount. But I mean, that's just the price you have to pay. And for the short side, it's even easier. You get in late and you get the second leg. So the guy that asked earlier, like the pain-free short setup, whatever, the moment this breaks, this isn't going to do much. Like it's going to go into here. If it does go down, maybe bounce a little, but it's not going to do much. And then you get a second leg to the downside, right? I don't think this is just going to be like the moment the daily support is broken. It's just going to be a move into it and then straight back up. I think at that point you get a second leg and then you just trade the second leg. So that's the less risky short setup in my opinion. But until that happens, it just pays to be on the camp or in the camp of, okay, this just keeps on going until it doesn't. And I'm just going to assume it's going to go up until it proves me otherwise. Do you sell on the way up then or the mega bounce after the first big breakdown? I mean, honestly, like it depends on if you're talking about investment and trading, right? Let's say you're investing in Bitcoin, you're looking for an exit, right? I mean, how I did this back in 17 was I was writing this shit and saw my portfolio going up and up and up and up and up and it pulled stupid multipliers, right? And at some point I was like, this is getting stupid. I'm just gonna cash out my investment. And then I just cashed it out when I thought it was getting too stupid. And then I started shorting in here and started trading around with it. Back then Bitfinex was still the king, so couldn't go high leverage. Still remember like not being able to hedge everything because I didn't have too much money on Bitfinex, and the maximum you could go was ×3 leverage. So I was sweating bullets there. But yeah, I mean, that's the investment side of it, right? You just sell whenever you think it's getting stupid because there's not really resistances there, right? And you can play the investment side like that as well, right? You can say, okay, if it loses this, I'm going to cash out my investment. But in my opinion, like the investment thesis, whatever, this is going to turn bearish again. I think that only takes place if we actually start closing back above 14K, where I think it could have like potential to go deeper down. So yeah, I mean, you could sell on the way up and then sell once you actually get like confirmation. I just did it, and I usually do it when I'm like, okay, this is getting stupid. So, I mean, and the trading part of it, I mean, you can also catch the tops, right? You can short this all the way. For me, it's pretty difficult to kind of time the top in these things. So I just much rather give it some time, see where it develops, and then start hedging the moment. Like what you can do on the lower time frames, you see structure develop, and then, like for example, you get these big candles to the downside. You usually bounce back up from them, at least for a while, and then you can get like hedge plays to try to hedge as high or as close to the highest as possible, and then you just have your stop loss there. And if you get stopped out, it usually just keeps on running, and then you just do that over and over and over again, and you take paper cuts, but you still make money. Like if you think the top is getting closer and closer. But yeah, in general, I think the most sane thing to do, if you're happy with saying, okay, I'm going to ride this entire rally and at the end of it, I'm gonna give back a large portion. If you're fine with that, and I think that's the most sane kind of way to look at it, then you would actually have to get invalidated. So it would have to take out the support. You could obviously do the same thing I did back in 17. And I mean, I might do that myself if it gets completely ridiculous. If I'm saying, okay, this just doesn't make any sense anymore, just cash out more and more and more. I would do that with my trading portfolio. Just sell, try to get as much tether or whatever, any kind of alternative, and then just sit it out. Completely fine as well. But in that case, like, you could have done that here, you could have done that here, and now it's higher. And now the thing is, like, even if it crashes, right, goes back to where you sold in here, yeah, you would still be selling at the exact same price level, right? And if it has another leg up, and then you sold way below where actually people have waited for kind of a market structure break, started shorting. So like, if you get what I mean, right? Like, if you just be, okay, I'm selling here because it feels stupid, and then it keeps on going up. Even if this crashes at some point, I mean, maybe it just crashes all the way back to your exit, and then you're like, what do I do? Or not even, right? So just makes a lot of sense to just let it run as long as you can. That said, on the low time frames, right? And this is something that you can watch out for in these situations. These kind of rejections are special. Like, we haven't had that in a while. And that usually means either we're going sideways or we're putting in a top. And I mean, I could see this be a temporary top. Go back to the support, this red one. And then the question is, okay, can we hold it or can we not? And the moment we lose it, it's probably going to cascade. If we don't lose it, I mean, rally's on. Hope that makes sense. I mean, it's as simple as I can make it in these kind of crazy situations. Because I mean, this is a crazy situation, right? And this is the first kind of candle that we have with large wicks to the up and downside. And those usually mean either sideways or we're putting in like a temporary top. Do you think that it was just a shakeout today? I'd be surprised. Shakeout, maybe. Maybe we go sideways from here. I think that'd be the best case scenario. Like, go sideways for 2-3 days. Can't go sideways for too long, otherwise we start breaking the parabola. But yeah, I could see it go sideways for a day or two. And if it then starts rallying again, we have the same situation as we had in here and in here. That the red candles are just used as support, and then you have a new invalidation for your longs, which is really nice for the bulls, and you have an even higher price to short at for the bears. So I mean, no one should really feel sad about this, in my opinion, anyway. Like, if you're just trading it technically, it's not really, you shouldn't be losing too much money, because this has been the cleanest uptrend we've had in a long time. And it's going parabolic, so. Okay, I think that's enough for Bitcoin. I think everyone got it. That was like a solid 20 minutes of me just rambling about it. And I think I've made that point like several times, so do excuse me if you've heard it before. It's just an important way. And I think most of you guys haven't actually traded parabolas before. I haven't been in the market that has gone, like, in a Bitcoin market that has gone like this. I mean, this is another one where you had a parabola-ish movement, but this is different, right? This is kind of like this, or kind of like 2017, right? So a lot of people just don't know what to do, and that's why I just keep repeating it. So yeah, that's Bitcoin. We can talk about the altcoins, because a lot of people are like, okay, now we have Bitcoin at these high prices. Altcoins against USD haven't really moved. Altcoins against Bitcoin have dumped a shitload. what do I do? When do we get the old season? I was promised, whatever, blah, 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 right? In my opinion, right, generally speaking, in the history of crypto, at least in the past few years, whenever Bitcoin goes parabolic, altcoins have problems keeping up, right? Even more so when it goes this parabolic. Like, this is kind of crazy movement. I mean, if you look at the 3-day chart, I don't know if you guys have looked at it. This is an absolute, this is an absolute ridiculous chart, right? You can't see any red candles. So when it goes like this, the altcoins obviously can't keep up, right? So people are like, okay, what I have to do, I just buy the altcoins cheap against Bitcoin while they're cheap, because they're only cheap because Bitcoin is rallying so hard. And what they kind of fail to understand is that either Bitcoin puts in a blow off top here and goes up in one candle like a grand or two, and then your altcoin gets even more wrecked than it is already, or the opposite happens. You have a parabola break, and then the altcoins dump really hard against USD, right? They might not dump against Bitcoin, but they dump against their dollar value. So you're kind of screwed. Like, if you're in altcoins, other than the nice few main ones, the ones that are getting hyped like YFI and that kind of stuff, that has been doing better than the rest, you're kind of screwed. You're in a shitty position because either you're selling now and then you just might be a liquidity for other people to enter, or you're not selling and then you just might be the people that get shaken out, right? That's why it's so important to kind of time your coin entries right, because if you do not time them right, it just hurts. I mean, I've been in that position before. I've sworn myself to never get in that position again, and so far it's been doing wonders for me. I mean, I still remember like the leg, I think it was the leg from like 2 whatever to 4 or 5, where the altcoins like didn't really do too well, and then this next leg to 7, where the altcoins got absolutely slaughtered, and I mean, you had the rest at 20k too. So I mean, I had some altcoins there, took losses, and I was like, okay, when Bitcoin goes parabolic, I mean, I've learned my lesson, not gonna do that again. And now it's doing it again, and people are asking me the same questions that I was asking several years ago, right? So I mean, there's not really a good answer, because back then, like, I personally sold my altcoins when I saw them getting dicey, and then just bought back in later. If I missed it, I would have missed the old season that came after, so that would have sucked a lot. But yeah, I got lucky, whatever you want to call it, right? But this time around, right, you're never guaranteed an old season. That's another thing a lot of people kind of seem to misunderstand. They're like, okay, Bitcoin rallies, so I'm promised an old season. I disagree. There's a good chance that you just don't get an old rally. At least not like every single coin in the list. Maybe you get like a few. Maybe you get like the blue chip DeFi coins that have something going for them, just rallying while everything else just goes down. So yeah, it's not as easy as, okay, Bitcoin goes up, I'm just going to buy all coins because they're going to go up later anyway. I disagree with that. And I mean, it could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't. I'm just saying I'm not entirely sure if it will. So I'm playing my cards close to my chest. And is that the right saying? I hope it is. But yeah, I don't want to be overexposed in altcoins when Bitcoin's going parabolic. And I think the moment it starts rolling over, be that at 17, be that at 20, be that at 25, right? What will most likely happen is that people are just going to pull out money out of the market in general. So you're going to get altcoin dips when that happens. When Bitcoin puts its top in for this cycle, wherever it may be, I think the first move that's going to happen is Bitcoin dumps along with altcoin dumps. And then we either get like a big, like let's say this rallies a little bit more, starts dumping, puts in like a cycle top, whatever. Then I think the altcoin's going to just go along with it. And then maybe at the bottom of the first sell-off, which was back then in here, the altcoin started rallying. And I mean, that was during these candles here, that was the old season back then. And I mean, I could see it play out the same way again. But like I said, I'm not guaranteeing it. And I feel like a lot of people on social media and everywhere else are just like, yeah, the altcoins are going to go off. I don't know where they're getting their confidence from, because from the standpoint that like where I'm at, besides like maybe ETH, like these altcoins, let's actually look at the proper chart. These altcoins have done nothing but dumping ever since 17, right? So the trend's heavily bearish, and just betting on it reversing based off of something else in the market doing well, pretty dangerous in my opinion. And if you're like of the opinion, okay, I think the altcoins should do well because we get normies in the market off of the Bitcoin pump, that could be the case, right? But I don't see as much retail interest as I would like for that. So yeah, Bitcoin's dumping a little bit. Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. It's gonna be interesting. This is the first kind of sell-off candle that's been impressive. So yeah. Don, why don't you trade new DeFi coins instead of old scams? You missed 2 DeFi old seasons just looking at EOS, BCH, LTC. I mean, I'm just not talking about it. Like, I traded some of them from time to time. I just don't want to talk about them. For me, it's like mostly scams. And when I can move markets with tweets, I just don't tweet about it. And when I can't, I heavily tweet about it. Just like if you want to trade those, and if you want to have someone kind of talk about them for you, yeah, just gotta go somewhere else. It's not really in my interest. I mean, I could make money off of like saying, okay, this is bullish, this is bearish, and then buying in, or like buying in and then saying that, and then posting it all over Twitter. It's not my kind of style. But I mean, there's plenty of people that like do something similar, and there's really good follows for those kind of coins. So I mean, if you do want to like have someone talk to about them, whatever, if you want to hear about them, yeah, there's a lot of people that are interested in that kind of stuff. But yeah, overall, the thing is, like with the new coins, with the old coins, what does happen in the end, right? So for example, like the old coins, right? And a lot of people tend to disagree with me on this. The old coins, right? This is Litecoin, ancient. Let's actually look at Coinbase, or well, where did my mouse go? There it is. Ancient coin, right? This is not that much different from a newer coin. This is like the newer generation of altcoins. Like this came after stuff like Litecoin came out. Let's actually look at Binance, that's fine. This is the newer version of it, right? And then there has been a huge pump before that we sadly cannot see. But so you have Litecoin, pretty much first generation altcoin. Then you have like other altcoins. I mean, there's a bunch more, right? ETH is second generation more than Nano is. But you get the point, right? So you have the older ones, you have the medium old ones, whatever. And then you have the newer ones. So you look at Link, right? That's the newer version of it. And all of these coins are going to look, in my opinion anyway, they're going to look the same in the end. So, I mean, doesn't really make too much of a difference in, okay, whatever. You catch these hype cycles early and you make money off of them, and then you dump it and you don't look back. So, I mean, doesn't make much of a difference, whatever you're trading. The new ones move bigger. So if you want to like make the most out of a small stack, it's probably the best kind of to focus on those. But if you're fine with like trading the trend on something that moves less, I mean, you can also trade stuff like this. It's not a problem. But yeah, people are gonna hate me for saying it because it's always like people always have these weird favorites in crypto, right? People are like back in my day was ARN shares, and I mean I was taking full advantage of that back in my days, like Nano and ARN shares or Neo, how it's called now, like had the same thing. Like people were mad over it, loved it, whatever, and then you ride that hype cycle and then you let it die. And I don't think any of the new coins are any different. So, like, while you're trying to shield me into like a newer coin, right? What I'm realizing, at least, I mean, I could be wrong on this, right? Is that a lot of these have already gone through the hype cycle. So what you're doing is you're buying into like this pump now, right? You're buying into what is for XRP. Like in here maybe, and these cycles in my opinion are gonna play out the same. Could be completely wrong. I mean, I've not been so far with regards to your coins, but for me there's not much of a difference. So I'd much rather buy a coin at cycle lows than in the middle of its cycle after it's already done the pump bit of it anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's a matter of perspective, right? And I could be completely wrong on that. The good part is like I'm wrong on the cautious side. Like if I'm wrong on the cautious side, so I'm not gonna lose too much. Whereas like other people are gonna be wrong on the all-in side and they're gonna lose a lot. And then they're gonna ask themselves, okay, how did this happen? And I mean, it happens the same way over and over and over again. I've been in the space for long enough to kind of see it happen over and over and over again. Old altcoins will die except ETH. If you think like that, in my opinion, you should expect every other altcoin to die as well. Which I mean is a fine kind of view to have on the market, I think. I mean, that's my view overall as well. Like I think 99.9% of these altcoins are gonna get so illiquid at some point that they might as well be zero. And then you could make the argument, okay, yeah, the USD pairs are doing really well, right? And I mean, that's all well and good, right? And I mean, there's some good USD setups on a lot of these coins actually. For example, this one, we had it at support, now it's back at resistance, right? The problem is, if you bought this at support in August, how much are you up now? You're up 20%, right, in August. If you bought Bitcoin in August, wherever, let's say at the top, you're up 48%. So you risk a shitload more to make a shitload less. So, is hype cycle finished for DeFi altcoins, or is there more room? No idea, man. No idea. I mean, it's not my main avenue to trade, so I can't really help you too much there. So, but I mean, the thing is, right, that kind of doomer attitude of, okay, these altcoins are going to zero, they're obviously not going to help you, because then you're just not going to make money once they do go ballistic. And for me, I've played that hype cycle over and over and over again, even on the bigger coins, right? So I'm going to try to play it again. Best case, best example, Dogecoin, Dogecoin. Jesus Christ. Dogecoin, I mean, you can see it, it's at cycle lows, right? Will it bounce from there? I have no idea. I think the chances that it bounces at that support are lower than the chances of it not doing so. And I think there's a good chance it just capitulates right through it. But I'm still gonna keep an eye on it. Still gonna maybe buy a little bag, see what's up. But I'm gonna, like, if I buy anything, like if I buy any of these coins, I'm gonna go in with the exception to lose it all. And if you don't, you're gonna suffer, I think, because there's a good chance that you're buying in and then it goes to 5 sats or whatever, and then goes sideways for 2 years. And then maybe pumps or maybe goes to 0, who knows. Like, there's a shitload of stuff this could do to hurt you. So anything that you put in, I think you should be fine with losing. And I mean, I know it's a kind of meme that everyone keeps saying, but I mean, take it to heart. Like, anything you put in the altcoin market, if you're not fine with losing it, don't fucking do it. And yeah, and then enjoy the gains if it pumps, and I mean, take the blame if it doesn't, because I mean, we'd be like, even I'm gonna buy this. I mean, this is a fucking stupid coin. It's a meme coin. Like, it should be worth anything. I mean, I'm gonna sink money into it regardless, right? But I mean, if you look at these with like, and I think a lot of people don't really do that, with like a lens of, okay, realistically, what have these projects done that has changed anything in the world other than this kind of space, right? And the answer to like 99% is just nothing. Like, one of the biggest changes any of this stuff has brought, like one of the coins or whatever you want to call it, that has done the most, I would argue, is Tether. So like, when Tether, a coin that is very anti-crypto, like, has done the most, then you're gonna have to ask yourself, like, what the fuck are these coins doing? And I mean, who knows what's gonna come out of those, right? But like, if you're just brutally honest, I mean, this is all shit so far. Is it gonna continue that way? I don't know. And if you kind of have an inkling to like any of these not being shit, makes sense to have a little, because I mean, I think the price right now, or at least they're starting to be priced in the way that the price kind of reflects my sentiment of, okay, these are like, most of these are pretty shit. So it's getting pretty low, in my opinion, against Bitcoin. So you either make a bet on the altcoins and expect them to not go to 0, or you just write them off and then wait for, like, that's the good part, right? You don't have to buy this. You can just wait for it. Maybe it chills down here for like ages, and then it goes back up to like 20, 30 sats. And yeah, you missed out on a shitload, like a 2x, 3x from the bottom all the way up here. But then you can play the second leg, right? And that's the same as I'm talking about with Bitcoin, right? You don't have to play the first leg. You don't have to short the absolute pico top and then ride it all the way to 0, or like 6K or 8K or 10K or whatever your target is. You can easily just short the second leg, take it to support, and that one is way more secure than the first one. And it's the same for the altcoins, right? You don't have to buy at support. You can easily buy it when it gets back into its old range. And I think Dogecoin is one of the ones where you can easily identify the old range. It's this red box, whatever you want to call it in here. If it gets anywhere close to there, you're probably going to go and double from there at least. So depends on your risk appetite. And my risk appetite on this is, I'm just going to go in gonna go in small and then just add if it goes bigger. But yeah, I'm not gonna buy it 16 sats. So, and yeah, the crazy part is, like, whenever I say that, everyone, or like most people in the chat or like on Twitter or wherever, they're like, I agree, but, and then they name the coin that they have the heaviest bags in, and that coin is different, right? Which it might be, right? I mean, I'm not the biggest fundamentals kind of guy. I could be completely wrong on all of it, right? But like from what I've seen, there's very, very few exceptions to the rule. Doesn't mean they're not gonna pump, obviously. It's never mattered in the crypto space. It's all about, can you actually make a narrative that enough people buy into? And then you pump and then you dump into it. What do you think about Bitcoin short term going down? I am expecting it to go up until it doesn't. And I think the until it doesn't part is the moment it starts breaking support. And that's how I've been playing it. Like, I've been saying I don't want to short at 10K, close my shorts, close pretty much all my hedges on the way up, and then just wrote my trading portfolio up. I definitely didn't play it perfectly because I could have been stupidly long leveraged the entire way up, like a lot of my friends were. But I mean, didn't lose money shorting, didn't lose too much money hedging, even more so because I actually hedged with ETH. So actually made money on some of those. And then I'm just gonna continue doing that until it kind of proves me wrong in the sense of breaking support. So far it's not done that. And I think that's the easiest way to go about it. And the thing is, like, sometimes even I have no idea. Even I sound so full of myself, but you get the point, right? Sometimes I don't have a clue. And I mean, this could be the top. Could not be. I don't know. I'm gonna know the moment it starts breaking support. And once it does that, I'm gonna act accordingly. Until it does so, no idea. And I feel like that's another problem that doesn't really get talked about too much. Like, everyone kind of seems like they almost have like this kind of urge to always have like an idea where it's gonna go. Sometimes, like most of the times, you don't. And then when you do, you just bet on it. So yeah, let's talk about ETH. BTC looks pretty shitty. Not gonna lie. The only meme hope that is left, in my opinion, is this inverse head and shoulders. And support's down here. Could easily go anywhere from like where it's at right now to down there. I think it's probably gonna bounce in that area. Like in the area where I'm circling right now, it's probably gonna bounce there. The question is this green zone gonna turn red? And if it does, I'd be very cautious because then it's the same as on the monthly. If you remember, and this is like the last stream that I done, I was like, we're retesting monthly resistance right now. And that was when this candle was completely green up here, right? And I said, be a little bit careful because you want to break that before you actually make bets on ETH breaking out, right? And I mean, as it stands right now, we retested resistance and we're now going down. Could that change in the next 12 days? Obviously, yes. But it actually has to close green, in my opinion, this candle. Otherwise, you're breaking support on the monthly. And then you look at the weekly, you see, is this going to do the same? Like go down here, maybe bounce back into this zone. I think then it's pretty much confirmed to be higher time frame bearish. And then you just like, if you're bullish on it, you can easily just wait for it to, like, let's say it goes back down again, to actually trade back above here before taking any kind of big sized longs, whatever. And if you're bearish, I think, I mean, it's been a pretty nice ride down here. And if the support, the green one fails, it's probably gonna go make some, I mean, not necessarily new lows, but at least go back into the old range. But I think like most of your ETH analysis or like on your view on ETH should be based on your view on Bitcoin right now. Because if Bitcoin keeps on going parabolic, this is going to keep on dumping. And it doesn't really matter if you're saying it's at support. Momentum does matter a little bit. Like if you're seeing like massive green candles, that matters a little bit. But as you can see, those can just get sold into, and that's what's been happening. I've been kind of following the mantra of, if I want to long, I'm longing Bitcoin, and if I want to short, I'm shorting altcoins. Been doing that for the last few weeks. I'm gonna keep on doing it until it works, until it doesn't work anymore. I think that's just the wisest way to go about it. And then the moment it stops working like that, I think the Bitcoin top's probably in. So the moment you start seeing altcoins actually outperform Bitcoin again and do well, I think the general top is in, and then you just play the altcoins and then you just exit at some point. So like for the Bitcoin bulls, you don't want to see this reverse, in my opinion. You want to see this keep on going for as long as possible. As long as the altcoins are dumping, Bitcoin's fine. The moment they start like going really ham, at least the older ones, in my opinion, that's where you should be worried about your Bitcoin longs. Until it works, that was epic. Yeah, I mean, never gonna hear the end of that. But yeah, like for real, I think that's the way to go about it. And I mean, weekly is in the area of support. I'm gonna see how this closes. Like I'm not really shorting ETH right now. I've been trying to short pretty much the ratio all the way down. This is support, so I'm kind of ambivalent, is that word? Reluctant, whatever, to short it into support. But if this weekly close is bad, I think there's still a lot of move to get on the downside. Even more so if you're bullish Bitcoin. If you're bearish Bitcoin and you think the top's in, probably not wise to short altcoins. Hi Dawn, do you use stop losses on the way up? It depends on trades or not. Like if I'm in a trade, I usually have at least a stop loss somewhere. I usually close most trades before they hit my stop loss. But I do have a stop loss somewhere. If I'm just sitting in like my trading portfolio is just not in a trade and it's not hedged, whatever, it's just not doing anything other than sitting in Bitcoin, then there's obviously no stop loss. But yeah, so that's ETH for me. Pray for this inverse meme head and shoulders. I'm gonna do it anyway. Like I fucking hope this plays out because God, do we need an old season. It's been so long and I'd love to multiply my net worth in a week or two again. But so far, not really a sign of it, I think. And until that changes, makes sense to be a little bit cautious. And I talked about this, I think last stream or the one before it anyway. What you really don't want to see, and I hate seeing this on Doge right now, is just a dump and then you lose the this is pretty much what I mean on the flip side. You have a parabolic rise, right? And just imagine I'm talking about the flip side because this is parabolic dump, right? And let's say you have a move up like this, and then you'd expect for the reversal to break this parabola and go to the downside, right? But if it just consolidates to the right, just spends time up there, doesn't do anything after the parabola break, I mean, that's not necessarily like, that makes you not as confident in shorts as you would like to be, right? If you're trying to short this. Now flip it to the upside, or like flip it to the downside. Jesus Christ. What this is doing is you have this parabolic dump and then it's just doing this. And that's not something you want to see. So I hate to see this. That's why I'm a little bit cautious on the Dogecoin front or on the, in general, coin front. Because like, what is this? You're breaking the momentum by going sideways. And I mean, that just, to me, screams like, okay, there's a good chance that it just actually keeps on going. So, got to be a little bit careful. like I said, I could see the altcoins dump even when Bitcoin dumps, and I could even see the altcoin Bitcoin pairs dump while Bitcoin dumps. So if the Bitcoin tops in, it's probably gonna have bad effects on the altcoins, not good ones, at least for the first few days, if not weeks. So not in a rush. I want to see how Bitcoin plays out first, and I think that's the case with pretty much anyone else in the market that is trading anything serious. But I mean, I might be saying this at the bottom because it's a cycle, though. Who knows? But that's fine, right? As you should have learned from me, like holding monologues in the last few. I mean, it's been years now. I think I've streamed for 2, and on this, like 1.5 years, maybe 2. I don't know. It's not a bad thing to miss out on the bottom if you just know where you want to get in. And I think like buying in this range is more than fine. And yeah, shit happens. You don't have to catch the bottom all the time, because I mean, if you try to catch the bottom and you're like, oh, it hit the green box, that's support, Don said that's support at 22, and you're now still holding, I mean, you're not happy. You're down 22% and counting, right? So you need, in my opinion, for all of these parabolic things, like this is how a parabola ends and should end. If it doesn't, and then it starts creeping back up again, I mean, and you get like a massive rally to the upside, or in this case, if it just doesn't do anything, creep back down again, massive dump to the downside. So yeah. Doug, I think you should be fine to buy it now because you're not buying the top. Plus you can sell half on the double. I mean, bro, that's not how it works. You didn't buy the top here either. You still got fucked. You don't have to buy, like, buying the top in most cases, I think is oftentimes, at least, if you're like ready to kind of let go of that position again, less bad than buying into a new developing downtrend. And technically, this just went sideways, broke to the upside with a fake breakout, and broke to the downside. So technically, this is a new downtrend. And I mean, this is just the first leg so far. Could easily have a second leg, right? And then you'd be buying this. And then, I mean, the possibility of this going to zero is definitely there. So gotta be a little careful. It's not as easy as saying, yeah, okay, just buy it here and then you can easily just sell half on the double. It's not how it works. So yeah, that's Doge. I talked about a lot about Dogecoin, but yeah, if you really want to see like what the average altcoins are doing, just go through the list. I mean, Bitcoin Cash, what's this? This is capitulation. It's just a question of where does it go, right? And is anyone actually gonna buy that capitulation? And for me, I don't know. I really don't know. Is Roger Ver gonna buy the capitulation? Is it gonna be me? I mean, I'm gonna try at some point, much lower than where we are right now. And this is something that I like kind of try to make obvious every time I talk about this stuff. I'm aiming for gifts to the downside, and I know Salsa says this really well, so I'm just gonna copy his words pretty much. Like for your entry, you're kind of hoping for a gift, right? And in this case, a gift would be like a mega down candle, right? You're not necessarily, for an entry, you're not trying to just buy whatever. You're hoping for, at least in a bearish trend, right? In a bullish trend, you don't have to wait for a gift, in my opinion anyway. You can just do whatever on the buy side. But in a bearish trend on the buy side, you're trading against the trend. So you want to have something very cheap, or you want to have an indication that the trend has ended, right? And that means it's either going to dump really hard and I'm going to buy it and hope that that asset that I'm buying is not going to zero, or I'm waiting for it to actually pull in and then prove me wrong on, or like prove the trend wrong. And in this case, just have to reclaim back up here and then the trend would be finished, in my opinion. So I would more than happily buy into that, even though it's higher than, and I mean in this case, it's very far away from those kind of prices. But I'm more than happy to wait for that. And if you look back in history for this asset, if you've done that ever since pretty much 18, right? If you're like, okay, I'm waiting for this to get reclaimed. You didn't buy. Then you're like, okay, where's the next kind of support that gets lost? In here, right? And you're like, okay, I'm waiting for this to get reclaimed. Then I get in, right? It doesn't happen. And then it does all this shenanigans. This support gets lost in here, right? So you're like, okay, I'm waiting for this support to get reclaimed. And it never happens. And then you're like, okay, now I'm waiting for this. Never happens. And now you're waiting for this. Maybe it happens at some point. Who the fuck knows? But by doing that, you're not buying the top. You're not buying the middle of the trend. You're gonna miss out on the first leg of the new emerging trend. And that is much better, in my opinion, in most cases. Depends on how good of a trader you are. If you're a godlike trader, you can do whatever you want, really, right? Some people have their own strategies and their own kind of ways to figure out if there's going to be a bottom or not. But if you're just an average trader, and I think most people are, by just having these kind of guidelines, just say, okay, I don't want to be involved too much until it kind of proves that it's actually doing something different this time, then you're pretty much good to go. Why won't anyone think of the scams? They need to be pumped too. They are feeling very left out right now. I mean, we've got some scams pumping. Not too many, but we've got some scams pumping. Average capitulation to market reset is 80%, right? All coins or Bitcoin. I mean, you can't really make it. You can't really say it like that, because for Bitcoin that's true. Like when Bitcoin really hard resets, it's usually 80%. Not expecting that anytime soon, but for the altcoins, they usually go down 95, just in my experience. And I mean, ETH outperformed that. I think ETH just went down 90, yeah. But like in general, like most altcoins went down 95 roughly. Litecoin's even better off. But if you look at anything really, any of the smaller coins, you're down, like Bitcoin Cash down 97. And the thing is, like, from like the further down you go, right, 90% is very different from 95. And very different, 96 is very different from 95. But in general, these altcoins, I mean, most of them are down 90, 95. And I mean, where's the bottom going to be? I have no idea. For me, the easiest way to judge if there's going to be a shift in momentum is a reclaim of support. And the crazy thing right now is that they're moving so far away from support that we would actually have to put in a massive move to only like to get back to those supports. Like BAT would have to put in a 60% move to the upside to actually just bearishly retest the support it's broken. So that's my view on the market. I hope it makes sense. Any questions about the Bitcoin altcoin thing? I mean, it's pretty much like, if you want to boil it down to something, it's, for me, Bitcoin is doing this, and you want to wait until it actually pulls back and breaks the daily support that it set on the way up before actually trying to short a lower high. I mean, it's not going to be this aggressive, but you get the point. And all coins are doing this, and you actually want to see something like this before you can long a higher low, right? So this is altcoin Bitcoin, this is Bitcoin USD. And assume that this is going to continue going until it doesn't, and assume this is going to continue going until it doesn't. I mean, that's the easiest way to go about it. If you really want to want to have it easy, I think that's the way to go. And if you want to have it complicated, try to time the bottoms for the altcoins and try to time the top for Bitcoin. But that's going to be very, very hard in comparison. Are you having second thoughts on pulling the trigger on Dogecoin? I mean, I'm going to buy, I mean, in this situation, right, I wanted to buy big at 15 sats. I'm not going to buy big at 15 sats anymore. I hate this kind of price action. Like, this is the worst thing that could have happened, in my opinion. I could be wrong. This could just be ranging at the bottom and break out to the upside. But I think the longer this just chills at this support, the higher the chances it goes down. So not going to buy a lot. Gonna buy a lot either if it loses this and then reclaims 15 sats and just market smash it, that's fine. Or if it goes super low and I just feel like, okay, it's so low that I can YOLO some money on it. So yeah, second thoughts. I mean, it's not as much as second thoughts. It's just, it's not doing what I wanted it to do. And I've been talking about this for a long, long time, where I want this and not this. A big difference there. Is 7, 8, 9K unlikely to ever happen again at this point? You're asking me stuff. I mean, how much would that be? 7K, 60%. I mean, we've had 80% declines. So, not necessarily, no. I mean, I wouldn't count anything out. Like, I don't know where people get the confidence from. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily be too confident in saying it's going to 7K. That is, for me, like breaking 14K was pretty big, and holding 10K was even bigger. Like that was where my kind of entire viewpoint on the matter shifted. Like holding this was a big, big deal. And you can kind of see that a lot of people agreed with me, because like, if you guys remember back on stream, I was like, holding this is bullish. And if it can't hold it, it's probably going to roll over. But the fact that it held this means that, yeah, buyers showed up at crucial support. And then you can kind of see the reaction that followed, right? You got 2, 4, 6, 7 weeks of straight up. And yeah, I mean, that's just, that's where, whenever you see this kind of shit, you just take a step back. And for me, that's been 10K and even more so 14K, where it's like, okay, holy shit. You have long-term bags of Bitcoin, altcoins, or just trading. I mean, there's one thing, I mean, it kind of sounds like a joke, whatever. But in the Bitcoin community, if you've been around, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but there's something called the suicide bag, where like we've seen a lot of people over the years, if you've been in this space for a longer time, and you see these parabolic rises and falls and whatever, right? If you've been in this space long enough, you've seen people actually buy in cheap or whatever, and then get out, sell everything, and recredit afterwards, like sell everything at $10, it goes to 20K. So something that gets joked about a lot, but is actually quite serious, is like this thing called suicide bag, where it's like you still have a few Bitcoin to kind of prevent yourself from being like too mad about like missing out on all of like crazy rallies. So definitely have that. And I have a trading bag, right? So for me, I was hopelessly over invested and over allocated to crypto, right? If crypto went to zero, I would have gone to zero pretty much for basically, I mean, most of this, pretty much this entire chart. I would have lost it all, right? So I've been pulling out a lot, just taking risk off, because I mean, I don't want to have that kind of risk. I'm getting older. And I don't want to give back everything. And I've had disagreements with this with peers of mine. But for me, it kind of doesn't make sense. Like the risk reward kind of skews into, okay, do you want to like actually lose it all if something bad happens to the space? And the answer for this to me was no. Even like, let's say you make it another 10x more, the risk of losing it all would be like the 10x would change less in my life than losing it all would, obviously. So for me, I've been just pulling out, and have the suicide back, have my trading back, which is always in Bitcoin, because I mean that's just the easiest way to trade. But other than that, nothing really significant. So take that as you will. And I mean, I'm hitting myself for kind of closing out some of like, I take a lot of profit into USD whenever I make it. So obviously feels bad watching like the rally from 10 to 20k almost, but that's fine by me. Because I mean, my standpoint was for most of this time, and there's a lot of stress actually if you think about it. Like, if this goes to zero, if something bad happens, I'm out. So for me, it's just been like that. I'm more than happy with the situation. And given that my main market is crypto, I still have way too much allocation as is. So yeah, take it as you will. It just makes sense to me. But I have a lot of friends actually that went all into this shit. And they've made a shitload of money. So for them, it's not about like being secure. They just want the biggest boat available. And I mean, that's fine as well. It's just not my kind of lifestyle. I'm happy with a small boat. Don't need a big one or a huge one, whatever. Don, for the love of fucking God, stop looking at the cursed Doge Bitcoin pair. There are like 50 other altcoins to observe right now. Like this, or this, or this, or this. Oh, this is from earlier. Need to move that still. Or this, or this, or this. This went through halving, by the way. Or this. Oh, this is actually not too terrible. It's a very free test right now. But yeah. Or this. This is actually doing pretty well, but I mean, it's not really too much. But you get my point, right? I mean, yes, there are some coins that are going up. You can talk about Wi-Fi all you want, right? I went to pretty much target, and it's now bouncing, right? For me, if I'm looking at this coin, it's gonna set a higher low, lower high, I think, in somewhere in here, if that, and then continue downwards. So I'm not interested. And if it does keep on going up, I mean, fine by me. He's talking about new coins. Why you ignore DeFi? I don't understand, because I think, in my opinion, this went through its cycle. This is done. Like, for me, it went through its first cycle, and now we're kind of aiming for the higher low, lower high, Jesus Christ, lower high, for it to go way back down. That's my view on these things. Could I be wrong? Yes. Do I really care? Not really. I mean, I've traded this back and forth a few times. I just don't want to talk about these illiquid. I mean, they're not even illiquid anymore. I just don't want to talk about it too much. I don't like the idea of these rug pulls, whatever. Most of the people that I've seen in the space anyway are quite shady. Not my kind of people. What do I do with some of the altcoin backs I'm still holding? Sell now, sell it in the pump someday, or what is your advice here? I mean, there's no good advice, like I said earlier. No, like there's no good advice in that situation. Because, I mean, it's dumping right now, right? People are expecting an alt season. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen from here, or if it's going to happen from 50% lower, or if it's going to happen at all. For me, the trend's bearish, right? And has been for a long, long time for all of these coins that are in my list. And the new ones, I mean, even Link, for example. I mean, Link looks bad right now. Like 5 weeks ago, people told me, why are you looking at these old coins? Look at Link. I now look at Link. Looks like shit. Like, that looks terrible. So it's like either you're hopping from coin to coin, which is fine, right? But then it doesn't really make much sense for me to talk about it, because I talk about it and it's tomorrow gonna be outdated again, what I've said. But yeah, these were the two ways that I saw link ending. It looks like it's taking the faster one. No idea if that's gonna happen, right? I'm not shorting this. I've been thinking about shorting link at $15, and yeah, it didn't quite get there. But I think the play for link is kind of playing this range. Either this or this, right? And we'll see how it plays out, right? I've been thinking about trading link at 15. I might actually still take that if we get back up there. This didn't play out, obviously, but I mean, this was, I think, we threw that last stream, I think, and yeah, I don't wanna short it unless it's up at $15, and then you have an easy invalidation, right? The reason why I've been saying $15 roughly is what I'm looking at, is because you get a really, really good risk reward, whatever, because it really shouldn't go back above 18 then, and then you target the range low, which is at 7. And I mean, now I'm looking at the newer coins, and I think those are at prime shorting targets, whatever. So I mean, doesn't really make much of a difference, right? The old coins are capitulating, and the new ones are reaching, even on the USD pairs, prices where I would want to short them. But honestly, like, talking about the shorting side of things for the old coins is pretty dangerous, because most people shouldn't be shorting it. Most people should be longing or like buying low, not really margin trading anyway. I think most people lose money doing it. Most people are trading USD pairs now to cope. I agree. Yeah, if you're trading this and you're like, link is up so much, and you look at the link pair, and you realize how wrong that is. But obviously link has been performing better than the older coins, because a lot of these older coins are actually even down against USD, which link is a little bit, but not too much. So, but yeah, that's all my opinion. I'm not really in too many positions right now. I've just been abusing the fact that you don't have to be. Just you make money by doing nothing. I'm gonna continue doing that until we lose support. And I'm going to assume all coins that keep going down until they regain support. That's as easy as it gets, I think. So yeah. Hope that all made sense to you. Appreciate you coming by. It's always a pleasure. It's always fun. Hope you guys find it enjoyable too. Big shout out to Bybit for sponsoring it. Really appreciate it. Makes it even more fun getting paid for it. So, I mean, we streamed before we got sponsored, but now it's a little bit more regular. So, it's pretty nice. So, yeah, big shout out to Bybit. Their links are in the description if you want to check them out. And as always, big thanks to you guys for actually showing up and chilling. It's always nice. And I mean, even if we agree or disagree, I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just sharing of ideas. If you disagree with me, I'm more than happy to kind of entertain that thought, because it's not really about just everyone having the same opinion as me or the same opinion in general. A healthy discourse is often the best kind of thing that you can have. I mean, it's the only way to kind of change the opinion of someone else or even of yourself, right? So, yeah. Make the best of it, and really appreciate you showing up, and see you guys Friday. I don't actually know. I think we have Not So Fast coming on Friday. So it's going to be a fun one. This week or next week? I don't know. Did Cred say anything about it? I think he did. Probably did. Didn't watch last stream, but I think he did. So yeah, either this week or next week, not so fast. We're gonna tweet about it anyway. He's gonna have a very, very different view on the altcoins than I do. So that's gonna be super interesting. So make sure to show up. Maybe we get a discussion going. Maybe it's just him sharing wisdom. Either way, it's gonna be fun, I think. So yeah. See you guys then. Bye bye.